A respected attorney leaves his home in Texas and simply disappears. His car is later found abandoned at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. His wallet, credit cards, and briefcase are still inside, but there is no evidence he ever boarded a flight. Nearly a year later, a man's body is discovered more than 1,700 miles away in Washington state. He is wearing unusual military-style clothing. When fingerprints finally reveal his identity, investigators are left with even more questions than answers. You might be wondering, how could investigators identify someone using fingerprints after almost 11 months? The answer is simple. If the skin on the fingers is still preserved, forensic experts can carefully restore it using special techniques and recover usable fingerprints. That's exactly how investigators confirmed the body belonged to David Glen Lewis. This is the mystery of David Glen Lewis. David Glen Lewis was 39 years old. He lived in Fort Worth, Texas, United States. He was a successful attorney, a husband, and a father. Friends described him as intelligent, responsible, and devoted to his family. On January 28, 1993, David left his home wearing a dark suit, white shirt, and tie. He never returned. When his family realized something was wrong, they reported him missing. A few days later, his red Chevrolet Corsica was found parked at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. Inside were his wallet, credit cards, and briefcase. Nothing appeared to be stolen, yet investigators found no evidence that David had boarded a flight. It was as though he had vanished from the airport without leaving a trace. Then, nearly 11 months later, in November 1993, a body was discovered near a rural road in Spokane County, Washington. The man carried no identification. He was dressed in unusual military-style clothing, including a heavy winter coat with Cyrillic lettering, and investigators also found a Russian coin among his belongings. The autopsy determined that he had died from hypothermia. Weeks later, fingerprints confirmed the body belonged to David Glen Lewis. His family was shocked. They knew of no reason for David to travel to Washington state, and they had no explanation for the unusual clothing he was wearing. How had he traveled more than 1,700 miles from Texas? Why was he carrying foreign items? And what happened during the 11 months between his disappearance and the discovery of his body? Investigators explored numerous possibilities. Some believed David may have suffered from a medical or psychological episode. Others suspected foul play, but no theory has ever been proven. More than 30 years later, the death of David Glen Lewis remains one of America's most baffling, unsolved mysteries. How did a respected Texas attorney disappear without a trace, only to be found nearly a year later, thousands of miles from home? What do you think really happened?